Hey, it's Jay, and welcome back to the Star Wars Chronicle. Before I start, I just want to apologize for the state of my voice. I have really bad congestion right now. So if I sound off throughout the video, if you hear something, sucking on a cough drop. In this episode, we're going to be starting the Clone Wars, and of course, as mentioned several times on this in this chronicle, the Clone Wars was released out of order. So what we're going to be looking at today is Season 2, Episode 16, my apologies, Cat and Mouse, and Season 1, Episode 16, The Hidden Enemy. I'm going to give plot synopsis on both. Just keep in mind, I'm also not going to be giving ratings yet. Once I have completed a season, so of the 7 seasons, once I have completed it, then yes, I will give a rating for the show. The season, I should say. So, just keep that in mind. I'll give my brief opinions on everything, and yeah, let's get started. Also, again, before I start, just keep in mind there's a lot of new names thrown in here again, so just like in Phantom Menace, I'm going to be looking at my notes for some names that I can't remember. So to start things off, from the service of Christophsis, Senator Bail Organa, whose last name should sound familiar if you're a big fan of Star Wars, contacts Anakin Skywalker and his admiral, Wolf Yularen, on the Resolute, which is a starship destroyer. They are under attack by separatists, and it looks like at this point they're about to lose. But I think they have a couple tricks up their sleeve. So their supplies are also dangerously low, and Anakin tries desperately, along with Yularen, to protect Christophsis at all costs, but the enemy fleet is indestructible because it is led by Separatist Admiral Trench. Just as Anakin's about to just go head on and face Trench, Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up with a fleet of his own. So it looks like reinforcements came just to the nick of time. Of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi is piloting a Republic cruiser known as the Negotiator. And at the urging of Obi-Wan and also Yularen, they Anakin, being the gung-ho kid he is, relents and, kind of retreats back off of Christophsis. So Anakin, boarding Obi-Wan's ship, discovers that his master is creating a very powerful cloaking device weapon that will allow them to go undetected. Anakin is so excited about this that he can use this weapon against the Separatists, but Obi-Wan assures and insists that Anakin not think of this as a weapon to use against the Separatists, yet to sneak past them to get supplies to Senator Organa. At the same time, Yularen is looking deeper into who this Trench guy is. But however, Yularen discovers something interesting about Trench. He supposedly perished in a battle years before, but again, that was just supposedly, so he believes that Trench is in charge of this fleet, because we know that he is, but unbeknownst to our heroes, he is. So, Yularen is fairly certain that Trench is behind these separatist attacks. And after said attack, Organa sends out a transmission to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a very, very great callback. I'll get to that in a bit. Finally, Anakin has had enough and decides to attack Trench's fleet head on. And this actually ends up working. However, his plan is thwarted by the thermal shields. Trench now analyzes Anakin's attack pattern and realizes he's not dealing with just some normal guy. He's dealing with a Jedi. He then transmits a message to Anakin commending him on his bravery, but also challenging him to really see what this Jedi is about. So after this challenge, I guess you could call it, is transmitted, Obi-Wan is reached out to by Anakin, and Obi-Wan confirms that this guy is a threat. And in the past, he'll challenge people to see how they fight, and he will use missiles to destroy ships, even when they're cloaked. So this Trench guy is not to be trifled with. However, Anakin does discover a loophole. So Trench's strategy is that he locks these tracking torpedoes, my apologies, to the magnetic signature of a ship. However, he needs to lower his invincible shields to do so. So Anakin sees this as a way to attack. And he, goes out into a fight. And as Trench is about to fire these missiles, he has to lower the shield. Anakin fires a shot right into the Invincible. Trench discovers that this was a huge mistake and tries to heighten the shields before any more damage can be done. However, it just takes too much time, and yeah, the doesn't end too well for Trench in that situation. And so, as Trench watches his fleet get destroyed, Obi-Wan is able to use the stealth ship to fly past the destruction and deliver the goods to Organa, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, as well as Commander Cody, launch a new attack on the leaderless separatist movement. And that is Cat and Mouse, because see, it's a game of Cat and Mouse. There's a lot of really great callbacks, especially when Organa transmits a message to Obi-Wan Kenobi and literally says, "You're my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi," which, if we don't know, that's what Leia said to Obi-Wan Kenobi in one of the future Star Wars movies in the timeline sense. So that's really cool. I really like Trench. He's this weird, like, spider creature, and he's really intimidating, and he knows what he's doing. Of course, he overlooked the whole lowering shields thing, and Anakin was able to take advantage of that, but Anakin's not a stupid guy, so of course he was able to figure that out. But all in all, this is a really cool way to, establish the connection between Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Organas, seeing how that's such a big relationship later on in the timeline. So it's a really great way to establish that, because again, you got to realize that this entire show takes place in the same canon as the prequels, sequels, and the main trilogy. And they have a great way of tying that in. So I really appreciate that. And all in all, since this is the first episode I've watched, the animation's beautiful. And I like how these clones aren't just clones. I like how, well, as I'll discuss more in the next episode, next episode I'm reviewing on this episode, this chapter, what you could call it, the clones have personalities, and they all have, like, their own thing going on. Which leads me to my next episode, Season 1, Episode 16, Hidden Enemy. Remember, I'll give ratings on Seasons 1 and 2 once I have completed them all. So to start this episode off, Anakin and Obi-Wan are going to use their clone army to take on the droid army. And just as they are about to execute their plan, the droid army splits off into 3 different factions, and Obi-Wan is suddenly overcome with droids. They suddenly appear in his chambers. Anakin then loads up the gunship to go and try to get to Obi-Wan's aid before he is overwhelmed by these droids. So they escape to the roof, and the droids are in hot pursuit. However, a great battle ensues, and the head of the droids' head is taken and used to find vital information as to what the droid's next play is in this battle. So at the base, 2 clone soldiers, Rex and Cody, are analyzing the head, and the only thing they can discover is that the droids might have known their position prior to the attack, thus leading them to believe that there is a traitor amongst them, or a hidden enemy. So they need to try to figure out who this is. So as they're doing this, they realize that somebody left their comm link on and was able to hear every bit of their conversation. So now it's just a race to try to find out who this person is and why they're trying to backstab their own brothers and their own brotherhood in the clone army. So Rex and Cody are in hot pursuit of somebody who they see running towards the mess hall. However, that is where they end up losing the perpetrator, and they try to contact the Jedi, but the droids have knocked out their communication, so it looks like it's up to them to try to figure out who this traitor is amongst all the clones. The Jedi also are trying to figure this out on their own, but they want to keep this as a secret mission, but of course that got blown out of proportion once the comm link was left on, and they realized that they had an eavesdropper that entire time. So Rex and Cody use R2-D2 to analyze transmissions to see if anybody had sent out any unauthorized, transmissions. And they realized that they discovered a wavelength. And remember, there's going to be a lot of names coming up from, I'm assuming, clones that we meet in future seasons. But since this is a prequel, I mean, not future seasons, in prior episodes, but since this is a prequel and everything, it's going to be a little bit confusing. So please bear with me. They realize that there's a transmission coming from one of the clones named Slick, his room. So they decide to investigate that sanction, his men. And all of them have really great alibis. One of the clones, Jester, was cleaning his weapons. Punch and Sketch were in the mess hall. Not the ones chased into the mess hall, but they were already there. And Gus was in the infirmary, probably from the battle at the beginning of the episode. However, there's one clone named Chopper who seems to be hiding something. So they kind of press him to try to figure out what that is. So it seems as though all evidence is pointing to Chopper because he is keeping droid fingers as trophies, I guess you would say, but that's forbidden by clone protocol. And all the evidence seems to line up perfectly to place Chopper as the spy. However, right as he's about to, he snaps and he's finally like, "I saw Slick running to the mess hall." So now that's a very interesting development because Slick was kind of really leaning in to Chopper, obviously to try to, move the blame. So now all eyes are on Slick. So Slick, being not so slick, if I'm being honest, gives away that he knew about the Jedi's attack. And this gives away that he is the hidden enemy, and he flees. Rex and Cody pursue him, but he destroys most of the gunships and the ATTEs. However, as he's heading to the command center, Rex and Cody give word to their unit to surround the perimeter to make sure that there's no chance of Slick escaping. So while all this hidden enemy, clone betrayal is going on, Obi-Wan and Anakin arrive at the Separatist movement on BARC speeders. And even though they know that the mission has been compromised because multiple droids are spying on them, they continue to persist. And they meet Asajj Ventress and they duel with her to obviously find out some more information. So it seems as though the Jedi have gotten the upper hand on Ventress, and however, she uses the lightsabers to cut a hole beneath both their feet, and they fall down one more floor. And as they pursue Ventress, it is revealed that she has an entire army set up to invade Christophsis. So that's a big blow to Obi-Wan and Anakin because this isn't looking too good for Christophsis. So the Jedi engage Ventress again and escape on STAPs. However, Ventress does deploy General Losum to take care of Obi-Wan and Anakin because she's got to move on. She's got to get this plan taken into action, and she heads to the Trident. Meanwhile, back at the droid camp, Rex and Cody enter the command center in search of Slick. Because they gotta try to find this guy since he's compromised everything that the clone army has worked towards in defeating the droids. So, in their pursuit, they enter the command center and they believe that Slick is up in the vents. So they stage this whole plan where Cody leaves his blaster on the table and leaves to secure a perimeter. Slick falls for this and goes to grab Cody's weapon. However, it is empty. And after a hand-to-hand combat battle ensues, they're able to knock him out and subdue him. And they finally present him to the Jedi, Anakin and Obi-Wan. Just as he is being sentenced, he snaps and gives his intentions away as to why he betrayed his brotherhood like that. And he firmly believes that clones are being enslaved by the Jedi to do their dirty deeds, and that's why he was giving information away to the droid army to not be, this one-way thinking clone. So even though Slick declares that he loves his brothers and he did this for his brothers, Rex and Cody said, "That's great and all, but now you've exposed the brothers that you claim to love to certain doom." The Jedi order the rest of the clone army to take the traitor to lockup, and there is some good news in all this because even though all the weapons are destroyed, they still have their heavy cannons, which are going to be crucial in the upcoming battle. And of course, this episode leads directly into the Clone Wars movie, which I'll be looking at in the next episode. Now, this episode is really interesting because, like I was mentioning before, these clones aren't just generic, faceless people. They have personalities. They have a brotherhood. They have a family in each other. So it's such a tough blow to see somebody that who claims to love you, and yet doing something so reckless and just without any thought or emotion behind it because he doesn't want to be a one-trick pony to the Jedi. You know what I'm saying? And I really liked that dynamic, how it's setting this up. So I can't wait to see that explored more in future episodes in the timeline. And I can't wait to see how this is developed in the movie, too. I was always, curious when I found out that the clones all have like individual personality traits. It's really cool. I think it adds a lot to it. And yeah, so far this is doing a great job in being its own entity while also being part of, like, I guess you could call it part of the prequel trilogy. I know it's not a movie, but these 7 seasons take up all that time between 2 and 3, so you can call it part of the trilogy, and I think it's doing a great job. I love the dynamic between the clones. I love how dedicated Anakin and Obi-Wan are to completing their missions. There's just a lot of really great stuff in the show so far. Sorry if I don't have a lot to say, but again, I only watched 2 episodes, so I can't really give much. But from what I'm seeing so far, with just 2 episodes under my belt, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, and I've heard nothing but great stuff about this show, so I can't wait to explore that more. Again, no rating until I finish season 1, but I can't wait to delve into these characters more, these clones, see more of Anakin and Obi-Wan developing, as well as all the other characters that we've met in the first 2 movies. I can't wait to see them develop, and I can't wait to see these battles. It's going to be great. I'm super duper excited. But again, make sure you guys stay tuned next week for Chapter 4 of the Star Wars Chronicle, where we look at the Clone Wars movie. I can't wait to see that. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Click the bell icon to be notified when I upload Chapter 4. And yeah, that's all I got to say about the Clone Wars. I'm really happy I'm getting into it. If you haven't started watching it yet, I highly recommend it. And I'm only 2 episodes in, so let that be a testament to my words. Yeah, that's all I got to say, guys. Until next time, it's a wrap.